Hello, hello. Welcome back to Tech Talk Live. I'm your host, Amy Masters, and today our very special guest of Nails Magazine, Katherine Fleming. Welcome, Katherine.
Hello, happy to be here.
So I don't remember, I was going to look back. You've been a special guest with us in the past, and it was early on when we first started the Tech Talk Live. So I want to say you were like in the 20s, but I can tell you, Katherine, I believe that you're like number 96 that we've done. So we're almost at 100 Tech Talk Lives, our interviews of getting to know our industry leaders and what we can do to be better in our career. And you've been one that's helped us a lot along the way. And I think you are talked about in almost every single tech talk.
Oh, wow, that's so cool. That's so exciting.
Yeah. Because we promote a lot of the competitions. We promote like where do you get the education? It's like subscribe to the magazine. And I'm the nerd that actually reads the big book. And so, some of the stats are, things that
Mhm.
I'm interested in. And so um what I want to do though is kind of go back into your career. You haven't always been with just the Nails magazine side of it. Prior then you were with an affiliate and writing for multiple things. So do you want to kind of get us caught up of how you got into being the senior editor of Nails magazine?
Sure, I'd love to. I don't, probably most people don't know this because it's kind of technical and not important to know, but Nails Magazine is owned by a parent company called Bobbitt Business Media. So Bobbitt Business Media owns a lot of trade magazines, including Nails Magazine and our sister magazine, Modern Salon and Salon Today, but also a lot of magazines that are not related to beauty, like Automotive Fleet, Government Fleet. They have a F&I and showroom, which is for people who work at car dealerships. So there's a lot of different industries that we cover. I think we have, I want to say 20 trade magazines, and then we have events and things. So um, when I started, I was an editorial assistant for the parent company. So I would help out with all the brands and including nails, but not just nails. And then luckily there was an opening on nails, so I got to move over to nails. Uh, Amy seems to have frozen for me. I don't know what's happening on the other end. Hmm.
Hello?
Hello, are you back?
Come back.
Can you hear me? I can see you again. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, good. Are we
Who
back?
knows? I guess, maybe.
And you just sort of froze and then disappeared. It was so I
I
don't know.
don't know what happens. I never know. We just wing it. So
Yeah,
um, we'll just edit this part out at some point in time. But we're
sounds
live. But
good. Okay, good.
I noticed on TikTok we're not live yet. So
Oh,
there.
okay. Well, that's fine then.
Okay, so sorry guys, you guys know this is an adventure every time we go live. We never know what's going to happen. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. If it does, you know that we're going to work our way to be able to work this back. So um Catherine, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. You were talking about with Bobbit and all of the affiliate magazines that are out there and how you got started. So I'm sorry, can you repeat some of the stuff that you had just said?
Yeah, of course. I'll just start over just in case I don't know what was working at what time, so
Yeah.
I'll just start over. So, what I was explaining was that our Nails magazine is owned by a parent company called Bobbit Business Media, which owns a lot of trade magazines and events as well. And so some of the other titles, we have our sister magazines, Modern Salon and Salon Today, which are for more hair magazines. So those are related, but then a lot of the other magazines are for car related things like school bus fleet, automotive fleet, metro, just a lot of transportation, a lot of car related magazines. So when I started, I was hired as an editorial assistant. And what the editorial assistant does is helps out all the magazines by writing sort of extra stuff. So a lot of magazines only have a couple editors. So they will assign something out to us editorial assistants. So I got to work for all the different magazines and really get a lot of experience writing different kinds of stories about different topics. But luckily, Nails had an opening for me, so I got moved up to Nails. So that's where I've been for almost 3 years now, which is very exciting.
Yeah, so kind of doing your time with all of the other stuff and all the getting the experience, as we always say. And
Mhm.
is there any topics that you kind of miss covering that aren't nail related?
Um, I always like any story that is about like when you get to talk to a person about something they're interested in. So in that sense, I still get that with nails, but I also enjoyed that in the other industries. Yeah, I don't know that I have any specific topics that I miss writing about. I don't miss writing about new engines because I never knew. I don't understand that. So I never knew. But anything where somebody was like, the cool thing about this thing I'm doing is this, I'm always like, yes, tell me. So that kind of goes across all industries. As long as there's somebody who's into their industry, you can have that kind of response.
Absolutely. I think that's what's been so successful with Tech Talk Live is that
Mhm.
e- even though we're all nail techs or part of this beauty industry, we all specialize and have a uniqueness about us that has made us,
Mhm.
rise up. And it's been amazing. One of my favorite Tech Talks I just did was actually with Nellie Neal, and he talked
Oh,
about his
yeah.
$2,500 pedicure and
Yeah.
what he's done to make himself unique in the industry. And it was such valuable information. The comments that I still get today were like, "That's our favorite one so far." And um, kind of tied into that is what you're working on currently with the Foot Forward Summit. And so I don't know, has Nelly? I'm sure he's been there. It seems like it would be a natural fit for him. If not, hopefully this year he can attend.
Yes, he was there last year, actually. A bunch of our photos from our networking event that opens the event are just Nelly in the background going like this, which I find hilarious. I love it. And he's going again this year. So if you go to it, you can catch up with Nelly in person because he's told us that he's going. So I'm very excited to see him again. I always love getting to catch up with Nelly.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. And so to kind of promote that a little bit, you guys know, one, if you subscribe to Nails Magazine, you see all the upcoming events because that's one of the forums that we have that is always has the schedules of what's coming up, whether it's the Foot Forward Summit from just competitions that the magazine does themselves, but
mhm.
internationally, some of the competitions that are coming up. And Foot Forward Summit is August 11th through 13th in Atlanta. And so it's kind of a new summit, but boy, has it kicked off per se on the right foot. And it's been really exciting. And so, do you want to
Yeah.
explain a little bit what to expect if they go to that show?
Of course, I would love to. So, like Amy said, it's a pretty new event. It's in its second year, but we were really excited and energized by the response last year. Everybody was very into it. They were very serious, but they were, really enjoying the networking and really getting to talk about this area of the business that I think is kind of not, there's less opportunities maybe to talk about serious foot care. So this year we're very excited. We have a new lineup. So like Amy said, I actually have a flyer for it here as well. So
Yeah.
as Amy said, it's August 11th through 13th. And so the way it works is the 11th, which is the Sunday, there's a networking event with food, and all of the sponsors and vendors will be there so you can see what they have going on and talk to your fellow nail techs and eat some food. Then on the Monday, the 12th, we have a full day of sessions. So these are new sessions, different from last year, but still like very good information that we got. We have a lot of great speakers. So there's a lot of sessions. There's one about energizing your nail business and kind of how to kick things up to the next level. There's one about how to assess the condition of your client's feet, which is very important because we have a lot of the health of the feet is a very important area with the aging populations, diabetic or disabled people and that sort of thing. So it's really important. We have a topic about disinfection, which is also always important. And it's something I think that
Yeah.
sometimes clients may be nervous about. So I think that's an
Mhm.
important thing to be able to reassure them as well. And then we have something about reflexology and how you can incorporate some of those techniques into your services, and a panel about nail techs who work with podiatrists. So we have the podiatrists and the nail tech. They talk about how they
Yep.
support each other and work together.
Mhm. Yep.
And then we have them talking about how to build your business and maybe how to troubleshoot if you're having problems, and talk about retailing. So we have a lot of really good information, really expert speakers that will have great things to say. And the other great thing is that we have a networking lunch and that sort of thing. So you can network with other nail techs who are interested in this, and you can talk to our speakers and get some one-on-one advice if you need to. So I think it's a really exciting event. And then on the 13th, the Tuesday, we have advanced education you can sign up for. So that is from our sponsors, and you can get their certification. So it's all the information is on our website, which is www.footforwardsummit.com. And I would love
Yep.
to see any of you here. And if you do go, please come and say hi to me because I will be there and I would love to talk to you.
Yeah, it's time that you guys can get around Catherine. And
Yeah.
seriously, it's going to be very kind and very sweet and very genuine. And you really do listen when people talk. And that's one of those things that you're not just there to have all the selfies and say, "Oh, I'm here, I'm here." You're really there for the knowledge and the kind part of it. So it's I love that part of you get that whether you're online or in person. I was trying
Oh,
to type in the footforward.com, but I'm misspelling things. I don't have my glasses on to do it
oh,
right, so I'll get it into the
I'll
comments, guys.
yeah, great. Perfect.
Yeah. And so when you started to kind of get more into the Foot Forward Summit, what what kind of stuff happens behind the scenes when you guys decide to plan something and then come to fruition? Because typically a couple of years of planning and getting the right people, where's the right venue to go to, how do we
Mhm.
want to market this, and so what did it take to be able to get something like this published?
That's a great question. So I think what we were thinking was we were trying to I feel like there's many beauty trade shows, so we were looking for something that hasn't really been done as much, something that people would be looking for that would be more unique. And we felt like foot care is a big area of the business, but it doesn't feel like there's as much specifically for it, maybe. So
Mhm.
that was how we came up with the concept. And then really we were just thinking about who are the people who are very health minded, really know a lot about pedicures. And so that's kind of how we came up with the speakers. In our first year, we had our keynote was a podiatrist, and that was really cool. It went over very well. It was funny because the nail tech audience was very responsive, and I think probably he's used to like a medical audience who just sits there and is like, and the nail tech audience were much more responsive, and I think he really enjoyed that. So that was super fun. Um, yeah, so it was just kind of looking for that area that would really help people that they don't have that opportunity. And the reason I think it was in Atlanta was because there was another show at that location partly, so we knew that was a good location because our events department had worked with it before, but also as I believe Atlanta is a good, like a big area for foot care. That's what I was told. I'm not really an expert in regional foot care, I'm going to be honest, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah, it would make sense. I went to nail camp there just a few months ago in Atlanta, and yeah, there's the population there compared to, especially compared to where I am, you're going to touch a lot of
Mhm.
people, and obviously it
Yeah.
was a success. They continue on from there, but I have to say the one thing that about Atlanta that I just still talk about, and I was talking about it last night over dinner, was the roadkill. I know that sounds awful, but I'm used to like deer, antelope, all of that. Over there, you're dealing with like possums and armadillos. And Cat Michelle Baker was our driver, and I like wanted to ask her, like, can we stop and so I can just take a look at like how hard is the exterior of the armadillo? So wherever you travel, there's always something so unique. Another one was the
Yeah.
big magnolia bushes. Becky and I
Yeah.
had gone to dinner, and the magnolia bushes, I mean, these magnolias are, they were bigger than our heads. They were huge.
Yeah.
And so just the advantages of being able to travel, have it be a
Hmm.
complete tax write-off.
Absolutely.
Get the knowledge that you have that's more than just the feat, but how to be successful, along the way. It's amazing. It's going to
Yeah.
shows or something else like it. And like I said, it gets to be a tax write-off. You guys know I'm all about, us nail tech saving as much money as we can and getting the best information. So for
Yeah.
you doing pedicures and all of that, now we know every state and around the world has different regulations. Some states you have to be a medical meditech to work
Mhm.
as a pedicure to do some of these things. And then some states have no regulations at all. And so it can be very confusing on what you are allowed to do. In my state, we are the same way. We started working with podiatrists, which her name was Sylvia Trotter. So Dr. Trotter was the podiatrist that we worked with. And it was amazing that she specializes in that. We allowed her to do her specialty, but in return, she would refer them back to us to be able to do our specialty, which was the pampering side. And so, therefore, there was no, confusion with the client on what to expect from what they knew. This was the medical side and this was the pampering side. So that the expectation of us having to do all this extra was no longer there. It took that part of it away. And their insurance would cover a good portion of it. And so therefore it was worth it that way too. They weren't paying a tech, $100 and some for an extra pedicure, that their insurance would have covered a portion of that. And then they could have, been pampered on the other side. So check with your state and find out what's best. But it's amazing what we can do with feet. And you know that they still say that pedicures are still the number one most profitable service that the nail tech can offer.
Wow. Yeah. That's really great.
Because
Yeah.
people want the pampering, and it covers all ages, and it covers men and women. It's one of those services that we can offer that everybody seems to want. It's not just nail enhancing, and only, half of the people want their nails enhanced. It really is a necessity as well. So
It has a
wonderful.
relaxation factor that other nail services don't have. Like you can't give yourself a pedicure and it wouldn't be the same.
Right. No, not at all. I mean, sometimes it's funny. I'm one of those techs that like does like a little pre-pedicure before I go get the pedicure, and then sometimes I have to do the after pedicure. The little
The whole process. Yeah.
I know, it's awful, but I do love that's one of my favorite things is to go get a pedicure. And so
Yeah.
speaking of like traveling around and getting services, one of the things that you've been able to do as being part of Nails Magazine is travel around to different locations and then pop in and get manicures at different salons. And of course, you blog about that. And
Yeah.
so, how fun is that? And what I mean, you've been in obviously a variety of different salons. What's things that stand out that can help maybe somebody else rise up and be like, I should do that in my studio as well?
Yeah, I love doing those salon visits. You can find a lot of them on our website. It's the column is called On the Road, so it has all the pictures from all the salons we visit. So we all do it. I do it. My boss Beth does it. Some of our salespeople will do it too. It's very cool to see the different ways that everybody sets up their salon. Just like the different decor or the different like what products they use. I'm always interested to see what products people use, like just what their setup is, I guess. I recently went to a salon that I thought this was interesting. I don't know that I can remember anything that's like, wow, more people should do that, but it's always interesting to see the different ways. And I think in general, they're all great. I don't know that I've had a really bad salon experience. But which I'm lucky because I know some people that's pretty common. But recently I went to a salon that had like a round thing that looked like a piece of a pool noodle. It was like this, and they would turn it like on one side for this arm. So they had me in like an armchair. They would turn it on one like lengthways to prop one arm and then sideways to prop the other arm, like when I would be reaching across. And I thought it was really interesting. I was like, oh, I never would have thought of that, but it actually worked great. So pool noodle thing for propping your arm. That's a new thing that I learned.
Yeah. Do you think it's similar to like the wrist assist kind of thing?
Yeah, it was that sort of thing. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if it was I don't know if it was actually a pool noodle. That's just what it looked like to me. I'm sure it was
It might
something
have
they put.
been. I mean, we're
Might have been.
creative. Yeah.
If it was,
And
that's a
so
valid like way to do it though. I liked it. It worked really well. So.
I yes, exactly that. I always say to talk to your salon inspector when they come around because they've been in all the salons in your area and
Mhm.
ask them, hey, what are people doing for sanitation? What are they doing? Give me the scoop on some of the other salons of what I can do to better. And it's amazing that, I mean, Matt, our inspector, he knows that when he comes in here, he's not here just to inspect me. He's here because he has to listen to all my questions. And so, we pay them. They get paid because of us. And so instead of fearing them when they come in for the inspection, use them to get the knowledge of what other salons are doing for their pedicure setup, for their, nail setup, for their sanitation and all of that. And so it takes I don't know, the anxiety away a little bit of when you see the inspector coming, you look at him in a new new eyes of more of
Yeah.
helping you with education. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's a
obviously we have lots and lots of hellos on here. And, Kim,
awesome.
one of our other admins on here, and you guys have published a lot of our admin team in the magazine in the last few years, and we've talked about how to get published. And so can we kind of talk a little bit, not only about the contests that you have coming up, we promote all of those and try to challenge each other in them, but
Thank you.
also with what do you look for? What do you need to get published in the magazine?
Great. That's a great question. It's a question we get a lot. So I love helping people because we want to publish you. That's the first thing. Like, we're not out there being like, we don't want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. So we would love for you to, we do, of course, look for certain things. So we'd love to help you send us things that we can use. So the easiest thing, and I think I've published a lot of your people this way as well, is to just send your nail art to editor@nailsmag.com. And what we look for in that case is clear images, like the nails need to be front and center in these images. It's okay we have a watermark, but like can't block the nails. It should be like small. It can't be across the nails. That would be bad. We don't like big borders or lots of effects. We don't like those tons of sparkly effects or like drawing or whatever that's not part of the nail art. It really needs to be just the nails. So like a clear photo, hopefully not like super cuticle oily. If it's super oily, we might not want to publish it. So just think about that. Like make sure it's a clear image. Nails are in the center. No crazy effects. Little watermark is fine. that's basically it. So those get published either in Reader Nail Art or I have this blog online called 365 Days of Nail Art. So that I publish a lot of people on that blog as well. So you just kind of keep your eyes on it though, because there's so many people that get published. I don't have time to tell everybody, hey, you were published. So just keep looking.
Yeah.
um, so that's one way. Some of the other things. So I know we mentioned contests, so maybe it would be good to mention that. So what we have coming up most quickly is the cover tech contest. That's a really cool contest because if you win, you get the January cover, which is very exciting.
Yes.
And even if you don't win, but we love your entry, you get published on the inside of the magazine because we have all the runners up on the inside. So even if you don't win first place, we still want to acknowledge you and your great work. Then, I recently posted some new guidelines for that, or it's not new guidelines, but it's just like kind of a refresher of how to do it. But I'll just kind of give the basics here. So basically what you would do is you have to do a photo shoot that would result in an image that we could use on the cover. So you can send us several images, and we can pick the best one. So one thing that we always have trouble with, it's reversed, but that's fine. So this is the most recent issue. Now one thing we have trouble with is that sometimes people send horizontal images, but as you can see, this is vertical. So if you send a horizontal image, we can't, it's not long enough, basically, it wouldn't fit. And then it's important to have the nails like front and center. There needs to be like space around them because if the nails were larger, then our cover lines would cover the nails, like our title cover lines would cover the nails.
Mhm.
So we don't want that. And as you can see, there's a white box down here. So you want to imagine the nails being in this position when you're shooting your cover. So that all this would fit. And then the background, you don't want to be crazy complex because then you wouldn't be able to read our cover lines on the cover. So
Yeah.
that's the tips that we have. I put it on our Instagram highlights, like a kind of visual guide to it, and I'm going to put that on the website as well. This is kind of moving up, but we just launched a new website, which is very cool. So you should check that out. But yeah, so
Is
the
it
cover.
under the nailsmagazine.com? Just a
That's
refresher of that or another
right.
additional one?
No, it's the same website. We just kind of it's just more modern and new design.
Okay.
So it's cool. So yeah, so we're gonna have kind of that visual guide for the cover tech contest, and I would love to see entries from everyone. And then the other
Yeah.
contest we still have left this year is the mural contest, which I think has a deadline in December. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but it's definitely in December. So that's when you'd have a set of 5 nails and you do a mural across them, which is also very cool. And that one you have to mail to us. So that one's, you have a little more time for that one, but I'd love to see entries for that one as well. And we always promote all these things on our Facebook and Instagram, so just make sure to follow us and you'll have all the latest dates. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many great articles in there. I know you're in charge of, I could be wrong. Are you in charge of like the other side? Was that one of them that you did? Is like what else us nail techs
Yeah.
do?
Oh yes, I love that one. It's My Other Life, it's called.
My
So
other life.
if you, before I forget, I should also mention that the Nails Tech Next Top Nail Artist competition, which is the really big weekly competition that we love doing. It's so cool, and the deadline for applications for that, I believe, is August 1st. So that's coming up very soon. If any of you are interested, remember that and be sure to get your application in. But going back to My Other Life, which I love, so if you have a second job or a hobby that's unique or unusual, you can send me information about it. It's the last page in every magazine, and I love doing that one. It's actually one of my favorite things to write.
It's actually one of my favorite things to read too, as well. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I love doing that. So if any of you have an unusual hobby or second career, please let me know because I would love to read it.
I love it so much. I've talked about this so many times about sometimes in our career, I know I went for years and years. The very first award that I ever got wasn't in from the nail industry at all. It was actually for my years of being in business in the town that I lived in. And then the Chamber of Commerce gave me an award and all of that. And I realized that even though I had, little awards here and there that I had gotten from like submitted in through magazines or I don't know, online kind of stuff. I never really had something that was significant to nail art. I never had something that was significant kind of thing. And so what we realized when we created Tech Talk Worldwide is that we too give a daily certificate called the hashtag TTW365 because sometimes we can be in this career for so many years. And unless you compete and place, you have no proof of what you've done in your career. And so you don't get to put those awards up on your wall and stuff like that. And so it's nice that the magazine has so much to offer that you can say, "Hey, I've been published." And there's many ways of getting published, whether it's a tutorial step by step or it's doing
Mhm.
the celebrity face off challenge and all of that. And so sometimes in our careers, if we're not competitors, it's interesting. Like you can go 20 some years in the industry and you look and you have no awards. Like even if you worked for another company, you usually get like an annual award or every 5 year award,
Yeah.
for service or something. And so we think it's important to recognize that your longevity. We think it's important to enter into the things like the Nails Magazine has to offer so that you can prove your worth and so that you can prove to your clients rather than just through verbiage, like here's proof of, current education, current recognition. And I love what Nails Magazine has done over the years. I know I've been published many times, and that has been one of the things that has helped me not only gain confidence, but be able to
Mhm.
prove to my clientele that, like, in the industry, I was chosen out of all these people to have a little bit of a feature about you. That's huge. And your clients see that as a big, thing. So being able to utilize the resources that you have to offer is amazing. And I promote that so many times that you guys need to get onto the website or follow the tech talks because you guys know that I talk about it all the time, and I try to do the challenges with you. I know we have a challenge that ends in August, and it's the hashtag One Nail, One Canvas. And actually, Nails Magazine helped promote that last year as well. And it's an international fundraiser and kind of fun to kind of prove that the art that we do on a nail, if it was on a canvas where somebody can hang it up, the difference in the money that it could be, the difference of the magnitude that somebody would want to keep this forever rather than for 2 to 3 weeks on their nails and then we have to turn around and take off that masterpiece. And so sometimes that struggle is real when we're like, we spent 2 hours doing that one nail, now I have to take it off. And so
Yeah, yeah, I
thank
think
you for giving the opportunities for people to be able to kind of prove their worth. Thank you for the challenges to make us want to be a little bit better, and then the opportunity to be published. It's amazing what the magazines have been able to offer for us. So thank you for that.
well, thank you, because we couldn't do it without all of our readers and people submitting their work. So you guys are really important to us. You're all, and we love to publish you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Catherine, so on the side note, so you travel a lot with the Nails Magazine. You're doing all of these, the different big shows and all of that. What's been
Mhm.
some of the spotlights of your career that you're like, wow, I cannot believe that I got to be on stage with, so and so? Because I've seen some of the pictures of you and just some of your travels, and it just looks like it's just like a dream come true kind of career. So, what are the spotlights of your favorite ones that you've attended?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, I've been really lucky to get to travel so much for work, and I love getting to do that. I really, I really enjoy getting to just kind of get out and meet different nail techs from different areas. So I always think that's really cool. It was cool at last year's Foot Forward Summit because I think another good thing about Atlanta is that it's kind of central to that side of the country. So people kind of drove up from Florida or like across from Louisiana or like down from, I think we had someone from New England, like Maine or something. So that was very cool and exciting that people like came from so far away. I really loved this year's Nails Tech Next Top Nail Artist finale. It was really fun and really cool. It was a really awesome event, and it was great to get to catch up with everyone, and so that was really awesome. Um, it's only, I think, the second year that we've combined that event with the networking event, and it's in Orlando. I think previously it was maybe in Chicago, a little before my time. So that was really cool to get to be a part of that event. It was a great way to honor everybody who was part
Mhm.
of that competition. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, and once again, having significant people that have been in our industry from it seems like the get-go, like Jan Arnold and a lot of those
Mhm.
that have just helped pave the way for so many. And with NTNA, so Ashton, our current NTNA winner, is actually coming on TikTok in a couple of weeks. And so we get to share her experience of
Yeah.
each week, the struggles, the great things that she went through, but
Mhm.
just sticking with it. And
Yeah.
I've met her in person just recently at the IBS show, and it was phenomenal to watch a lot of these techs go through the process and then them share their stories on social media that they're like, "I never knew I could make it that far.
Yeah.
Thank you for pushing me. Thank you for just telling me just go for it because that's how it started, and then you feel committed, and then the pressure's there, and you wanna do good, and just being allow all your creativity to come out, but yet to become a finalist at the very end. I know, I've also spoke with, like, Selena Wrighton and Lauren
Mhm.
Wireman and a lot of them, Tracy Benson, that have been a part of the NTNA, and amazing. It's
Yeah.
wonderful to see yourself in a new light because this is not salon nails that we're talking about. This
Yeah.
is, very creative, very high fashion, and so, and having Jen Arnold, organize something like that and tie it in with Nails Magazine and everything, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
What a
Absolutely.
great, great thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one of the events that, is on my bucket list to be able to attend.
I would love to see you at that. That would be so great. Yeah. Let me know if
Yeah.
you're going to be able to go.
I did an entry video last year, and I can tell you it was the first time I tried to edit anything because you guys know I don't edit these tech talks. I just go with it. I'm learning
Yeah.
along the way. And I remember doing a submission, and afterwards, I was just like, it was awful, awful, awful. And, anyways, you can't find it on my YouTube because it was one of those that I thought I wasn't confident in that. And, if you're not confident from the get go of just trying to get it going and just be you and not over edit and not overdo it, I find the video submissions that people submitted for that, it was just very real. Them sitting in front of a bush, maybe outside of their studio, just giving their story. And that's what it took is just being real. And so it's fun being able to see them from their entry videos and then every week follow their submissions and watch them
Yeah.
grow. And that's my favorite part about watching them. So I continue to want to support the NTNA.
Yeah. That's what I love about it too. I think it really, they really improve so many skills. It really helps you push yourself, I think, and that's a really great thing. And I love also watching how their NTNA contestants' careers progress afterwards, because a lot of times they get some really cool stuff going on, and it's so awesome. So
Yes, yes, the door's open. I mean, for so
exactly.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun watching that as well. And so what's next for you? You've become senior editor in 3 years of working at Nails Magazine. What's your goals? What do you wanna do?
Honestly, I really like what I'm doing right now. I'm happy. I'm really excited to get to be senior editor and kind of have a little more responsibility and that kind of thing. But honestly, I'm really happy doing what I'm doing. I don't know if I have any like huge goals. I'm just want to keep connecting with the nail industry and the nail audience and like help you guys and see what's important to you and help you all um, be the best in your area of expertise that you can be. So that's what I like to do.
Yeah. Well, you're good, very good at it. And so in your personal life, how do you balance, work, travel, and all of that, as well as family and, just making sure that seems to be one of the biggest struggles at us as techs. We're so passionate about what we do, and we could work all day on one
Mhm.
project, but yet we know that we have to stop. We know we have to, time management. We know that we have to get paid for it because not everything can we can give for free. And so how do you juggle and time manage your passion and your job and family and all of that?
I think, yeah, that's a hard thing to do. I think it can be hard, just for me, like traveling a lot in a short period of time happens to me sometimes, and that's kind of hard for me because I really need my downtime. So I think it's important for everyone, and of course everyone's different, but sometimes I think you get into this mindset of I always have to be doing something. And I think it's really important to
Yeah.
say, hey, it's okay to do nothing today. Like, that's not a wasted day. That's actually important for you as a person. Like, sometimes you need that day where you don't do anything that productive. So let yourself have that. That's my advice.
Yeah, so true. Absolutely true. Um, we have to put ourselves first. And you know what? Sometimes on those down days, I find that, I might find that I have too many projects going on. And so the day that I have a down day, it allows me to like reprioritize what I need to focus on. And then I can
Mhm.
kind of let everything else go. And so I agree with you. Those down days are so important to be able to have. And our
Yeah,
families and animals and our pets appreciate those days that we can just lay around with them as well.
absolutely. Yeah. Just spend some time with your pets. That's a very important thing for your self-care.
Yeah, yeah. So Catherine, I don't have any questions on here yet, so I'm going to give you guys the opportunity. If you have any questions for Catherine, if you're watching this live, go ahead and post the question now. If you're watching this on replay, you might need to tag Catherine or my name so it will notify us so we
Right.
can answer and get the right link to you. We will put all of Catherine's links into the comments as well. I've put just a couple in there already, but we'll get all of them together so that you know when to publish. Now, if you go to the website or you go to the magazine, it actually tells you if this is what you want to be published on or what you want to do, this is the person to email and to contact. And so
Yeah.
make sure that you're submitting to the right ones, or like Catherine said, submit to
Yes.
editor@nailsmag.com. That way it will get to the right person. And so if you have, like, I know Catherine works a lot with like new ideas, the technical side
Mhm.
of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's other people that are the step-by-step demos that do, you submit in the 4 tips or something like that, and it
Oh,
does the
yes.
step by steps. And so just know that you're messaging the right person for that. And so we'll help decipher that so that you can get published. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, I'm trying to think of more questions. I'm always in awe of you each time we get to talk. So if you guys know, I did a Tech Talk Live with Catherine before. We had a little bit of, I think, Wi-Fi issues that time, and so it did cut out just a little bit here and there, but it was still such knowledge. So, I'll repost that Tech Talk as well, and then a continuation with this one. I love watching you grow over the last few years in the industry as well, because I remember seeing the article when you first came on and what you were in charge of. And it was just like, ooh, she's young and looks fun. And then to hear your story that you were writing about automobiles and engines and all of that was, hilarious. But somewhere along the way, that always comes into play. Our past always comes into play to what we're doing. So, there's going to be somebody submitting a cover of an engine with greased up nails, but long, cool, rugged nails that are like working. And so it will come into full circle at
Yeah.
some point in time.
Absolutely, I agree. I think everything that we do helps us in some way, even if it's not what our passion is or what we really want to be doing. It's still like a learning experience. So I'm glad that I got that experience of getting to write for more different industries because I think that kind of helped me, I guess, improve my writing to be able to write clearly about things, different industries.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that people ask a lot in our group too is that they have anxiety where they can't actually work on a client. And so we've talked to them about other avenues in the industry where they can do videos from their home and then have like a YouTube channel or
Hmm.
promote a website of online workshops and stuff like that. One topic that comes up a lot is that we have a lot of nail techs that are bloggers. And so I've noticed that you'll bring in some of those blogs and kind of feature them in the magazine as well. And
Yeah.
so what tips do you have for people who are bloggers to maybe possibly get published? What things do you look for with that?
That's a great question. It kind of depends on what exactly they're looking for. So I think the biggest thing I can advise people who want to get published about something to do with their business, say, or their blog, rather than, so if you want to send nail art, that's quite straightforward because it's like, here's my nail art, this is who I am. And then we're like, okay, great. But for something that's like, hey, can you link to my blog? We really want like a clear idea of what you are trying to share with us. So it helps, I think, if people give us like a summary of like, this is what what I'm talking about. This is like
Yeah,
I think I could provide to your readers. I would like, so if you came to us and were like, I've been doing this thing at my salon that's different, and I think it's really interesting, and I would love for you to feature it. Like, we just need to understand the full thing of what you're talking about. Like, actually, like you, Amy, when you first reached out to us, I think you talked about your workshops, right? So you
yeah,
told us, like, I'm doing these workshops. This is what the this is how I'm helping people with these workshops, and I think it's important because of these reasons. And we were like, okay, that's cool. We understood what you were talking about and wrote an article about it. So that's kind of
yeah,
like really clear
yeah.
what you're trying to share with us is the important thing, I think.
Yeah, because another topic that comes up a lot is all the new regulations or deregulations that states are having, and it's important for us to get the information out there and not just put it in a form sometimes on social media because then you get oh my gosh. It was in a public group, so it wasn't in our private group here at Tech Talk Worldwide. Every one of you that are in here has either proven to us or answered that yes, you are a licensed nail tech. So we get it. But in some of the
Mhm.
public forums, when they're talking about ventilation or they're talking about different things, man, the fighting that goes on into the comments of people trying to get their point across, or we don't need that, or just wear a mask or whatever. And that's not what it is. I mean, these are serious regulations that, like in New York, you're talking about buildings that are hundreds of years old, that the studio might be in the center of the building, and they have to find a vent for every single table to vent outside.
Yeah.
And it's costing them on average, it was I think the last I was talking to Anita Hug Jones, who's huge and trying to, you know, be a part of all of this and help her state being able to regulate it in the right way. It was gonna
Yeah.
cost like $4,000 per table or something like that to vent outside and what it was gonna do to alter this building, that they were actually get some of these salons actually have to just shut down. And so
Mhm.
it takes getting that true knowledge, and we know that when we read it in the magazine, not only has the blogger or the person that has the interest shared it, but you guys have done your research as well. And now that you have some concrete facts to build upon. And so, those are the things that I like about the magazines is what you guys are sharing. You've done research. These people,
Mhm.
you're just not publishing people just to get something out there. You're doing it to get the true education from the source so that it can help us be successful and not be misled on what we see on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think social media is really hard in that way. It can be great, but it can also kind of be like an avalanche of people, and you don't know which of the people really knows what they're talking about necessarily. So I think that's a great thing
Yeah.
about a magazine where we do try to make sure we know whether somebody is credible or not, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. So, yeah, to go back with that. So, thank you very much for all the publications you've done on me as well, because that's what I believe in is getting the
Mhm.
education from the source and not doing it on a promotion side where it's based on sales. It's based on education. And everybody seem that follows me knows that if you've watched any of my tutorials, I'll share with you where I purchased it, what I got, sometimes the promo codes, but I'm not selling it. I'm teaching the technique of how to do it, and I think that that's what sets people aside sometimes is they'll be like, oh yeah, you need this ventilation system or you need this or whatever, but it's all based on sales. They're not there to
Mhm.
back it up on the other side.
Definitely,
Um,
yeah.
so Barbara Abeda's on here, and I don't know. She actually was our winner last year of nail hashtag one nail one canvas, and you published a little bit about Barbara. So Barbara said, "What's your favorite subject to write about? And when you're writing, how do you overcome if you come across a writer's block?"
Oh, that's a great question. So like I was saying earlier, I really like when I get to talk to somebody like a nail tech about something they're doing. So like a nail tech doing something different is my most fun thing to write about. And with writer's block, it's kind of hard. You just sometimes what you have to do is just put your writing aside, and trust that your mind is still working on it. So I think like taking a break is a great way to help with writer's block. Maybe work on something else. It feels like procrastinating sometimes because I'll be like, let me do all my other things that is not the writing that I need to do. Um, but if you're not able to put anything down in that moment, just staring at a blank page isn't going to help. So sometimes just saying, okay, I'm going to take half an hour and do something else and then come back to it is what is going to help, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I find I'm not a good blogger. I'm not a good writer. I will never try to be an editor. I am a voice, so I just can throw it all out. But I know when
Mhm.
I am organizing something or an event or anything, I've just learned the main topics that I want to hit. I write the main topic at the top of an
Mhm.
individual page in a notebook. And then from that topic, create an old school outline. And
Yep.
then I start realizing I'm putting it together. But when I write all my topics on one page, I
Mhm.
find that then I'm like moving them like, no, this has to come first and this has to come second. That when I write them on separate pages, I can tear the page out of the notebook and then organize it that way. And then pretty soon I realize I have this order of where the ideas need to go, with a little bit of outline to each one, which one needs to be priority. And it's always worked for me. And
Yeah.
so I've learned though that's what you do is not my strength at all. And so I have so much respect for the people that can sit down and stay focused on something like that to make it come to fruition on something that somebody can understand. I
Yeah.
get too mumbled. Yeah.
Well, thank you. But yeah, I actually do outlining for anything longer like that too. I'll like write down the main topics and then move things around, especially when I'm like I'll have the quotes that go with that topic and kind of cut it up. So yeah, I mean, I studied English and it was the same sort of thing. So everybody that told me English would not be helpful was wrong because it is helpful.
So, yeah. And always, I think too, it's interesting. I'll read things online and I'm one like, I usually am very good at spelling. So I'll catch if there's a little spelling error, but I'm
Mhm.
horrible at the actual grammar and how to place punctuation and all of that. And so once again, you are being criticized from so many people that are reading this, like, well, that doesn't make sense, or that wasn't the right quote or whatever. And so, um, we just need to respect the person and the time that they invest and not overly criticize everything. That's why a lot of people won't even submit pictures of the nails that they do, is they're afraid that somebody's going to criticize every part of it. And that's
Yeah,
not the truth. Majority of the people understand where you're coming from and the time that was invested, and we appreciate
yeah,
the talent. And so we encourage people to put it out there. Don't overly edit it. Don't, just
yeah,
submit. It's okay.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbara says the outline is what I actually struggle with. And Barbara travels a lot. And so I do know that because of her travel company and everything she travels, I would think that, boy, you'd have all this extra time that you could definitely focus on it. But, and on a side note, Barbara's trying to put together a retreat as well that's done a little bit different than some of the other retreats. And so, of course, I'm on board with what she is, trying to do. But so, yeah. The I think writing can definitely be one of you have to have a talent for it, and you
Mhm.
have the talent for it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, so we have the Foot Forward Summit coming up in August.
That's
The
right.
murals in December. I know that I just saw in the Nails magazine the cover tech is current. I think you said we have till August to submit into that,
Oh, so for
and then
the cover tech contest, the deadline is October 1st, so you actually have a bit
October.
longer. The NTNA deadline is August 1st, I believe. So if
That
you want
one,
to
yeah.
submit for NTNA, that's coming up real soon. If you want cover tech, you
Mhm.
still have a little bit more time. So
I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the Celebrity Face Off, one
oh, we got
because
some good. I'm
I
very
I
excited. Yeah.
I push it so much, and last year I entered it. This year I didn't have time, and I had a few texts after, the deadline. They submitted their pictures privately to me, and they're like, "Okay, Amy, what do you think?" And man, I'm super excited to see how that goes. And I know it takes months for you guys to be able to put these on, and so when the deadline's there, sometimes when you turn in something, on average, we find it's about 3 months
That's
before
exactly.
it's actually into the magazine. So don't get discouraged if you don't see what you've submitted go into the next level, because it will be there. Sometimes it's a year later. You can submit
Mhm.
nail art and the next year is when they can find the room for it. And so don't
Yeah.
get discouraged if you don't see it in the next month's issue. That's highly unlikely. So be real about
Yeah.
that on average we have found it's 3 months
That's right,
to
because
get.
we're always working, we just work really far ahead. So right now I'm working on the October issue. So that's just our workflow. So
Mhm.
that's you're exactly right. Don't expect to see it next month. It'll be in like 3 months or even longer maybe, but you still might see it, and that's the important thing.
Yes, I love it. Love it, love it. I love everything that you guys have been up to, and it's been fun to be able to interview you along the way and
Yep.
see what's new and what's coming up. Is there anything that you could kind of, share with us that you guys are working for next year or the year after? I mean, you're revamped the website. You have
Yeah,
the Foot
great.
Forward, which is a brand new thing that you guys are working on. Is there
Mhm.
any like sneak peeks that we can know of the future?
I don't know. I think the two big things that we've been concentrating on were our new revamped website launch and the Foot Forward Summit. So I don't know if there's anything further ahead that I have to share, really. But
Good.
yeah, I'm really excited about the Foot Forward Summit. I hope to see some of you there. And you should go check out the new website. It's pretty cool. I think it's working really well now, but if you see any broken links, you can let us know because sometimes there's little glitches. But I think everything looks great, though. Like, in general, the whole thing looks great now. So, very excited.
Well, perfect. Catherine, I can't thank you enough. Like I said, I don't remember the exact number, but I think your Tech Talk Live number 96. We're getting ready to come up on our 100th. Next week is, so if you guys go to the event section of our group, if you click going, they will translate the time for you, because this is an international group. So therefore, sometimes we're 5 to 6 hours apart, sometimes we're only 2 hours apart. And so if you click going, it will not only translate the time, but will send you a reminder of the Tech Talk the day before, as well as an hour before, so that you can come in and join us live if you have any questions. But if you're watching this on replay, still ask questions as you would. Like I said, you might want to tag Catherine or I in there so that we can get you to the right resource for that. But the next Tech Talk we have is Miss Brandy Pig is going to come join us and share with her life experiences as well. So you know that we bring on a variety of guests. Sometimes we bring on the brand new nail tech that's just starting, and her, explaining her struggles and us trying to help her along the way. Sometimes we bring in veteran nail techs that are like, boy, if I didn't stay up with the times and stay educated, like through the magazines and all of that, I would be left behind in the dust. And then sometimes we get the opportunity to be honored with, like, editors and all of that. So we have such a variety that we do on Tech Talks of free education. My husband came up with a quote of educating techs one talk at a time. And it just fits so perfectly with that. And so Catherine, I can't thank you enough for taking your time to help educate us techs on what we can do better and how we can get to the next level. And congratulations on all your successes over the last few years. I look forward to, continuing to read about you and your blogs and all of that as well.
Well, thank you, Amy, and thank you for everything you do for all the nail techs. I think it's a really great group that you have, and
It's
it's an honor to be
Oh,
a
the
part.
passion is there. That it's fun. I look forward to it every single time. So, and I'm learning along the way. You guys all know that as well. So, Catherine, thank you again. We will get all of the links for the Foot Forward Summit, for Nails Magazine, and all of that into the comments. And once again, if you have questions, let us know. Until then, have a great week. And Catherine, again, thank you very much for your time and your knowledge.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.